Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So I have read 2 books since the end of my last reading vlog. I read Crossed by Death, which is the cozy mystery that I started last week, and it is about Paisley, who is a single mom who scavenges historical buildings for things to sell, and she's searching in this old gas station that is to be condemned, and she finds a dead body, and she inadvertently gets kind of swept up in a murder investigation, partly because she's nosy and partly because she wants to write an article about the building. I really liked this. I think it was a good start to a series, and the relationship that she builds with the sheriff of the department is very cute. It seemed a little overly long. It's not that long itself. It's maybe 200 pages, but it just seemed like a lot of downtime. And also her son is in the series, and I've said many times about how I feel about children in books. I might continue if it comes up free or on KU, but at the moment I don't have any plans to continue because they're not. So that is that. And then I also finished Work For It by Talia Hibbert. This is an romance between Griffin and Ula. Griffin is an outcast in town because he is really big, and according to the characters in the book, he is ugly. And he is also out about his sexuality, which is kind of frowned upon in this small town. Ula comes to town and he's visiting. He's trying to write a book, allegedly, and they have an interaction at a bar that ends in them having a makeout session in the alley, and this immediately speaks to the discomfort that Ula has from physical touch, and we get a glimpse of maybe some trauma or something that he's currently experiencing because he has a lot of issues touching people and people touching him. And this little makeout session in the bar ends with him calling Griffin stupid, which is something that he has dealt with his entire life. So immediately their relationship is off to a bad start. And then the next day, Ola shows up at Griffin's job, and he's going to be spending the harvest season at his job. I gave this 3 stars. They're both very grumpy, and it's very cute, 2 grumpy men just falling in love, and that's kind of how it felt. It wasn't anything spectacular. I will say this is very slow burn, and you feel the slow burn. Ultimately, of course, them having to decide whether they want their relationship to go on and if he should stay in the small town or not. 3 stars, pretty cute. I think this is the first Talia Hibbert book that I've ever read. I could be incorrect, but it was cute, and I definitely recommend it. I am in training the remainder of the next 3 weeks at work to become a housing counselor. If you didn't know, I work with housing nonprofit. I'm the financial manager, but I'm also program administrator for the indoor plumbing program. I basically work with houses or with families that are low income that lack indoor plumbing or have failed septic systems. I am taking housing counseling training, which basically just means I'm a housing counselor. So yeah, that's the long and short of it. It's 3 weeks of training, and then there's a test at the end. And then I will be a housing counselor for my state. So I have that. So there won't be a lot of reading at work like I generally do because it's pretty intensive training, and I probably won't be able to listen to like audiobooks or anything like that. Outside of that, I don't know like what I'm going to read. I did check out the 3rd book in the Davabad trilogy, and I need to go pick that up today, but I don't really know what I want to read other than that. So we will talk again when I've picked something up. Good morning, friends. It is Friday. I know it's been a while since I updated you, but I really only had one thing to talk about. Started and finished Golden Boys, the Golden Boys, last night or 2 nights ago. And then I started the sequel pretty much right away. So this is about West and Blue, and they both go to this school, this private school called Cypress Prep. In the prologue, we see Blue going to a party of the Golden Boys. So there are 3 triplets, West, Dane, and Sterling, and they are like the kings of the school. They, have a bunch of influence, their parents are rich, etc., etc. And she goes to a party before her senior year at Cypress. They see each other, and there's like an immediate connection, but he gets pulled away by another woman. So that kind of ends that night. Several days later, West is going through his dad's safe, and this is kind of our first introduction to the Golden's dad. That Golden is their last name. And we find out that he's really not a nice guy. He's not a great father. He's a serial cheater, and he doesn't care if his kids know that he cheats on their mom often. And he breaks into his father's office to steal a credit card, and in the safe he sees a cell phone with half-naked pictures of Blue on it. It's just from the stomach up. And he immediately decides then and there that he hates this girl and he's going to do whatever he can to ruin her. So a couple months later, when they start their senior year, he sees her at orientation and then immediately starts bullying her. And so this kind of starts their relationship. Blue definitely is not one of those meek heroines. She definitely fights back, and she is very fiery, and she is from the south side compared to the north side, kind of that dynamic. Where the south side is like the poorer community with gangs and things like that, and she has a sister named Scarlett, and her brother is in prison, and her mom is an absent mom. She doesn't really know where she is. She ran away a while ago, and then her dad is an alcoholic, and he doesn't take care of them. He's very verbally abusive, so we see a lot of that. So when she gets into Cypress Prep, this is like her chance to make a better life for herself and her sister. There is also a Gossip Girl-esque element to this, where at the end of each chapter there's like a blast, but it's really kind of boring and written very immaturely. Dual author, a co-author written whatever story, and one author is clearly very better. Wow, I'm the one to judge authors. The better writer, and it's whoever writes West's chapters. I really enjoyed this. I ended up giving this 4 stars. I think this did a lot right. This had a good reason for bullying, even though one conversation could have cleared it all up. It was a clear reason for him to bully her. It wasn't the most mature reason or the most logical reason, because if her dad, there could be a million reasons why his dad has naked pictures of her. I prefer it more if they have a reason rather than just you like her and you don't want to like her, so you're gonna be mean to her kind of deal. There's a scene where he tells his brothers that they need to take her down, and he says, "We don't usually do this, but they know I wouldn't go to such extremes unless I had a good reason," which I love. And there's several scenes throughout this where you really understand who West as a character, that he's a very mature and loving and kind person, and he is just really doing this for the good of his mom, and he kind of feels like he has to a little bit, and I absolutely love that. I love that him and his brothers aren't naturally these bullying people, that they kind of are doing it because the brothers are doing it because they trust their brother, and that they, feel like he has a reason. He feels like he's protecting his mom. So it just added an extra layer to it where I enjoyed, I liked that they weren't just discussing people, if that makes sense. And another thing that I really like is that it wasn't as if he was the bully and she was just really, I guess, weak. I wouldn't want to call someone that's a victim of bullying weak, but she didn't just sit there and take it. She argued back. If he did something fucked up, she did something fucked up right back. There's several instances where he does something to her and she spray paints his football uniform, or something like that, where she's getting back at him, and I really enjoyed that dynamic. If you are into the hate sex, hate tension thing, you will absolutely love this. I will say the things that I don't like, there's a very minor thing where the hero wears tank tops and they call them wife beaters, which I just hate. I hate men. I don't like men wearing tank tops, and I hate when people call them wife beaters. It just is an awful name. And then this is more of a spoiler thing. There is a particular conflict in this book that hinges on West trusting Vin, which is his dad, and I don't quite get how the whole conflict happens, because he knows the type of person that his dad is, and I don't quite understand why he would believe his father's story over him, and that just was really annoying, and it led to a really dumb conflict. And I saw the reason behind the conflict from a mile away. But I'm not reading this for like a mystery. I'm reading this for the tension and for the hero, and it definitely delivered. I highly recommend if you like bully romances. Just so good. West is like just everything. I loved West so much. Now I'm on to the second book in this, because it's 3 books, but they're like not companions, they're actually connected, which, you know, we'll see how I like the next 2. But I'm liking it so far. There's definitely some like amazing groveling in it that I'm really liking. Reading the second one. It is the 1st of October, and I have a really large October TBR. Today, the plan is that I get my September wrap-up filled after work, and then a new video game came out called New World, really good, and so I probably will be playing a lot of that this weekend, or listening to a lot of audiobooks. So I'm going to look on my October TBR and see what audiobooks I can find. But that's the update. It's been 15 minutes. Ever since I like fixed the way that I review books, my vlog clips are just insanely long. That's that, and we'll talk later. Hi friends, it is Saturday, and last night I finished Resist Me. This is a romantic suspense, and I gave this 2 stars. If you are interested in reading a very misogynistic story that supports toxic masculinity and doesn't challenge their characters saying things like men that enjoy video games and are well groomed are destroying our society, go ahead and read this book. But if you're not interested, I would recommend avoiding. And then I also started the audiobook for Prince of Erin Darkness, and this is way better. It's an MM. It's placed at a magic school, and it's about Rurik, and I can't remember what his name is, but he is a human that has control kind of the ley lines, so he can do magic through the ley lines. And then Rurik is the Unseelie Queen's second son. They go to the same magic school, and it's good. It's probably going to be into being a 3-star because I'm liking the relationship as the story is going on. I'm liking it even more, but the world building is just not there. Like, the explanations are not there. He's been at this magic academy for like 6 years, and he still can't control his powers. Like, there's just not a whole lot of substance there, not a lot of explanation there. And I feel like if you're gonna build a whole magical world, you need to work on that a little bit. So it's probably gonna be like a 3-star. But those are the 2 things that I have read / are listening to. I'm listening to audiobooks while I am gaming, and I haven't gotten much further into the second book in the Cypress Prep series. So I have finished 2 books since we last talked. I've read The Prince of Erin Darkness, which I gave 3 stars. I liked it. It was cute. The relationship was cute, but I just felt like coming into the story, like the second book in a series, just didn't really feel very fleshed out, and I felt like I was coming into the relationship having already been established. A bunch of backstory and stuff that I just didn't really get. And then I also finished Mechanic, which was like a 170-page or 4-hour novella about a girl who is engaged to be married, and she goes to her town's mechanic, and he fixes her car, and she doesn't have her credit card, so she has like a sexual encounter with him. As repayment, he takes her panties and then gives her the digits, and then they end up running into each other again when she's at her bachelorette party, and so it starts like a relationship. I gave it 3 stars as well. I thought it was hot, but it has braiding kink, which I don't really love. I am now going to put some Twitch up, and then I'm going to get back to the second Cypress Prep. I've just been playing a lot of New World, listening to a lot of audiobooks, and that's probably what tomorrow will consist of as well. Hi friends, it's Sunday, and I finished a couple books since we last talked, but I'm just gonna like do a wrap up. I think for the time being, I am gonna stop doing vlogs, and I'm just gonna go to weekly wrap-ups. I tried this in the beginning of the month, beginning of the year rather, where I did alternating weekly wrap-ups and a vlog, and it didn't really work out because I really like doing vlogs. They're like some of my favorite videos, but I think I don't really know what I want to do or what I want my vlogs to be like, and so I'm feeling very uninspired in the moment, and I just don't know where to go. So I'm gonna take a break from vlogs and I'm gonna do weekly wrap-ups. Last night I wrapped up a couple of books, but I just want to go more in depth on why I gave them 3 stars. So I read Prince of Air and Darkness, which I gave 3 stars because I liked the couple, but I felt like I was being dropped in the middle of the story, that I missed a lot of backstory, not only with their relationship, but also with the world and just all of that. Like, it just felt very disjointed. I finished Mechanic, which I gave 3 stars. This was like a short little novella, and I gave it 3 stars because it has a breeding kink in it, which I'm not really into. I did finish Never His Girl, gave this 4 stars. I really liked this. I think that the groveling in this was fantastic, but the conflict in the end just made me not want to pick up the 3rd one. So I'm not gonna read the conclusion to the trilogy because it just feels unnecessarily drawn out, and so I just have no interest in spending my time on it. And then I finished Treble by Rilzy. This is her newest novella, and it's about a poly relationship, and it's Nova, Hendrix, and Sadie. And Nova and Hendrix are a pre-existing marriage, and they both kind of are interested in Sadie, but they've never had like a triad before. They've always just had their own separate relationships, and this is them having a triad with Sadie. I gave it 5 stars. It was hot. It was like perfect. No Rilzy. And then the last thing that I finished was The Ex-Hex, and I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. This is like a witchy fall second chance romance between 2 people that were a couple when they were college. They end up breaking up after 3 months. And then the heroine curses, because they're witches, our hero, Reese. She curses Reese because he breaks up with her by telling her that he has to go back home to his fiance. And then like 10 years later, he comes back to town and he finds out that he's cursed, and then the curse ends up affecting the ley lines in the town, so they have to work together to get rid of the curse. I thought it was super cute. I gave it 4 stars, like I said, and it was just like a perfect autumnal fall set around a college where she works vibes, where they're doing magic and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed the relationship. It didn't feel particularly deep or like I understood why they were together or anything like that. Like, it wasn't this grand sweeping romance, but it was a cute little story that I like enjoyed myself reading. So those are all of the books that I have read this week. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Leave your comment down below on the thoughts of me moving to a weekly wrap-up or anything that I read in this video. And if you don't have anything to say, leave a witch emoji down in the comments, and I will catch you guys in my next one. Thanks so much for watching.